Welcome to Good News Heroes on U-Nite Radio. I'm Jenna. Thanks for tuning in. Last time on Good News Heroes, William Carey agreed to go to India as a missionary. But will he overcome the obstacles so he can get there? And has our friend Piper gotten any better? Let's join them to find out.
Her temperature isn't rising, but it's still at 102, Melissa.
Oh, that's not good.
Okay, are we sure that the doctor can't see her sooner? Isn't the clinic close to your hospital? Can you go over there and see what you can do?
Can't I just come see you at the hospital and you can look at me there, Mom?
Honey, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not sure you need a hospital. I'll call the doctor's office again and see if he can squeeze her in today. I'll call you back later and let you know what I find out.
Okay. Thanks, honey.
I love you, Piper.
I love you too, Mom.
Well, do you want to read a book until Mom calls back?
Not really. Reading makes my head hurt, but I am hungry. Can you make me some toaster waffles?
Sure.
And get me some more water?
More water already? Didn't I just fill up your water bottle?
Yeah, but I'm really thirsty. Oh, and can we call Uncle Mike and see if he can tell me more about William Carey?
Shouldn't you wait for Logan?
We can call him too.
Logan's at school.
No, he's not. His class is on a field trip to the art museum today. He's been talking about it all week. Maybe he's still on the bus and we can talk to him. Please, Dad.
Okay, all right. Well, let's call Logan first to see if he can talk.
Hey, Dad, is Piper okay?
She's all right for now, but she was wondering if you had a minute to join us calling Uncle Mike to talk about your new Good News hero.
Oh, totally. We're still on the bus.
Great. Okay, here, Piper. See if Uncle Mike can join the call. Do you want peanut butter on your waffles?
Yes, please. Thanks, Dad.
Hey, Andre. How's Piper?
Piper's dying of boredom and stuck home another day.
Well, that's a bummer.
I'm here too.
Wait, are you sick now too, Logan?
No, just on a field trip and got some time.
Oh, well, I wonder what you two could be calling about.
Uncle Mike, I need to know if the company people are going to stop William.
I still don't get how they could stop him.
So at the time, the East India Company gave permits to travelers so they could enter India on a British ship. Without a permit, a British traveler couldn't enter any part of India that was ruled by the British. But William knew they would never give a permit to a missionary.
Wait, maybe they could sneak onto the ship like a stowaway. Waffles! Thanks, Dad!
Actually, that's kind of close to what they did. Dr. Thomas knew a captain, Captain White, who was willing to take the Carey and Thomas families to India without a permit. Then, in India, the group would have to figure out a way to avoid the East India Company so they could stay.
That sounds like a super secret mission.
It kind of was, yeah. Then a good friend of his, John Newton, gave him some great advice for his mission.
Wait, isn't John Newton the guy who wrote Amazing Grace?
That's him. Newton told Carey to follow God's calling to India. If God meant for him to be in India, then no power on earth could stop them. So they sailed off.
So, did they get to India without any problems?
No.
What do you mean you're leaving us here at this port?
I'm sorry, Reverend Carey, but I cannot take you any further. It's too big of a risk. The East India Company could take my captain's license away if they find out I brought you there without a permit.
Captain White, with all due respect, you didn't seem too afraid of the risks when we paid you.
That was when I had assurance that no one would sound the alarm on us. But now I'm not so sure. And, with all due respect, Dr. Thomas, you only have yourself to blame.
What do you mean?
It seems your creditors are rather upset that you haven't paid back the large amount of money you borrowed from them. They seem to think that if you get to India, they'll never get their money back. They found me here and they assured me that if you make it to India, they'll tell the East India Company all about how you got there.
Dr. Thomas, what is this about you being in debt?
It seems you gents have a lot to discuss. I'll leave your luggage by the port. I really am sorry. You had good intentions going to India. I hope you can find some other way.
Dr. Thomas?
I'm sorry, William. It looks like my bad past choices are catching up to me. I regret that you're having to suffer on my behalf. It's my fault. Let me make it up to you. I promise I will find a way to get us to India.
How are you going to do that?
I think I still have another captain friend in this area who could take us instead.
Won't your creditors have warned all the English captains of our plans?
Perhaps all the English captains, but not the Dutch captains.
Dutch?
Yes, this snag in our plans may be God's provision to our permit dilemma. Some areas in India are ruled by the Dutch and therefore aren't under the authority of the East India Company. If we can gain passage on a Dutch ship, the East India Company won't be able to stop our arrival.
Brilliant! We can enter India legally and not endanger the captain. Where is this captain friend of yours?
If I remember correctly, he's in a house just down the road. Shall we?
Yes, let's go.
So, William and Dr. Thomas went to visit Captain Christmas.
That is the best captain name ever.
I bet his ship was a lot of fun.
Well, like the spirit of his name, Captain Christmas was a generous man. He let William and Dr. Thomas's families board even though they couldn't pay the entire cost of the fare. He treated them very well on board and supported their calling as missionaries. But even though Captain Christmas and his crew were kind, the journey was not.
Oh, did they get sick too?
Sickness was one problem, but the worst was storms. The storms got so bad it damaged the ship, and it took the sailors 11 days to fix it. The damage also stalled their arrival in India by a whole month.
Yikes! William must have felt so helpless on this ship.
I'm sure it was tempting to feel helpless, but William and Dr. Thomas trusted God, and they didn't waste any time. On the ship, Dr. Thomas taught William the Bengali language. They even started translating the Bible into Bengali.
He really stayed busy, didn't he?
He sure did, and when they finally arrived in India, they got right to work. One of the first things they did was preach to the people. To William's delight, the people were glad to listen to the gospel. William even started developing friendships with the people right away.
That's awesome! I bet a lot of people believed in Jesus.
Well, that's what William hoped would happen. But in the first 5 years, William shared the gospel with old friends and new friends, yet not one person believed in Jesus. This was incredibly discouraging. He kept praying for a way to show the people their lives could be changed. God used one man named Krishna Pal to show him an answer.
And that's the gospel of the one true God. But, Krishna Pal, my friend, I know you know this message. You've heard it so many times. What's keeping you from trusting Jesus as your Savior and giving your life to Him? Do you need more to understand the truth of this message?
I don't doubt that it's true. In fact, I think many people believe that the message is true. We like hearing about Jesus. He is different than the gods of Hinduism. None of them are loving like Jesus is.
Okay then. I need you to be honest with me, pal. Am I saying or doing something that is preventing you and the others from accepting the message? Is it the way I speak to them or treat them? Are the people rejecting Christ because of my behavior?
Oh no, it's not you, William. We know you care about us. You give the people food and medicine when they need it. You don't think of them as lesser than you, and they see that in your actions. You don't cheat them or try to trick them for your own personal gain. But many of the people are too scared to follow Jesus. We're afraid of what our neighbors will think of us. I'm afraid of how it will affect my family. My friends and neighbors may avoid me. My daughter's fiancé may break up with her if her father is a Christian. I can't bring that kind of shame and disgrace to my family.
Oh, I see. Following Jesus would come at a great sacrifice. I've experienced much of that in my own life, especially since obeying God by coming to India. My family has fallen ill many times. We've barely had enough money to feed ourselves, and my poor wife has had a hard time adapting to our new home. But Jesus is worth the sacrifice. I know that sounds ridiculous, but the closer you grow to God, the more you realize how He is worth more than anything in the world.
I'm sure you have experienced it, but besides what you've told me about your God, I don't know Him. It isn't any different than how closely I know the gods of Hinduism. I don't have a way to know God like you do.
You're right. You don't. And how could you when the Bible hasn't been fully translated into your language? Dr. Thomas and I have translated a little, but it's not enough. You need all of God's Word in your language.
What's a Bible? And why did your God only give it to you in your language?
Well, the Bible is God's message to people. Every word of it comes from God. And actually, it wasn't first written in my language. It was written in the language of the people God used to write it. The Bible had to be translated into English, and because it has been, I've had the privilege of knowing God. Pal, if there were a Bible entirely in Bengali, would you read it?
Sure, I'd give it a try, and I'm sure many others would as well.
Oh, wonderful! I promise you, with God's help, I will focus on translating the Bible into your language. Maybe this is the key to helping you and others trust in Him.
William's great with languages, so he's perfect for the job.
But if no one had believed in Jesus after so long, was it worth it to keep staying and trying?
Good question. William's situation would be discouraging for a lot of us. I'm sure it was discouraging for William at times, but he didn't give up. He knew God wanted the people of India to hear the gospel and be saved, so he trusted God when it seemed as if none of them would believe. He knew he couldn't give up.
Oh, hey, Melissa's calling back. It might be about Piper's doctor's appointment.
I gotta go too. We just got to the museum.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hey, Mom!
Hey, Piper, is Dad there?
I'm here.
Good. I talked to the doctor. He can see Piper. He's worried about some of her symptoms and wants to get her in right away.
He's not gonna give me a shot, right? I'd rather stay sick than get near needles.
The doctor has some tests he wants to do, and you are going to need some blood work, honey.
No, please don't let them do that, Mom.
Piper, I know it's scary, but we can talk to God about it on the way. He will help you be brave.
Exactly. Honey, you need this blood work so we can know how to help you feel better. I'm leaving work now so I can join you and Dad at the doctor's office, okay?
Okay.
We'll meet you at the doctor's office.
William Carey has a lot ahead of him. What will happen next? Will Piper get some answers about why she's been sick? You'll have to tune in next time to Good News Heroes to find out.